Welcome back to the Piping Pastor. Today we're going to be continuing in our discussion of the Cosmos Club. And for that today, I was thinking about the fact that I just talked about that I've been smoking the Lestrade for most of my recent videos. So I was like, I should probably break into another pipe. So I got out the old Peterson. This is my Peterson 221 in Killarney Red. My first pipe. So the pipe I've had, not my oldest pipe, but the pipe that I've had the longest. And 221, it's a bent Dublin. That's the shape. I always found it kind of confusing and a bit frustrating when I first started smoking a pipe. When presenters would refer to their pipes by the numbers. Oh, it's my 70320. Like, what does 320 mean? I have no idea what that is, right? Well, and the numbers are used to denote different shapes and styles and bowl size and so on and so forth. But if you're a new pipe smoker, you just see someone say 7L320, you're like, okay, I don't know how to order that or what to look for or what, because typically pipes are, delineated by shape, right? When you go to filter them and look for them online, or you go to a pipe shop, you're like, I want a straight bulldog, or I want a churchwarden, or I want a Zulu, whatever kind of shape you're looking for. And, just the number sometimes isn't necessarily always helpful. So there you go. It's a bent Dublin, and in the bent Dublin, I'm smoking some Fusiliers Ration. So, which happily I was able to buy some in advance and store up before the recent tobacco limitation. I did not refill the Zippo. However, I always have the trusty Bic to hand. Now, I say the trusty Bic. And Bic lighters are very reliable. But the reason they're reliable, oddly enough, is because they're disposable. So you use it until you're out of fluid, then you pitch it in the bin and grab another one, right? So the flint is always fresh, and the fluid is always there until you don't use it anymore. Then you go on to the next one. So essentially, you always have a brand new lighter. So it's not as if the construction is somehow superior to every other kind of lighter out there. It's just one you always use and then throw away. So as soon as it stops becoming useful, you pitch it. So if you have a Bic lighter, it does seem reliable. It's odd that the impermanent nature of it makes it seem like one of the most reliable tools in the pipe smoker's arsenal. And yet here I am using it. Well, on to our poem for today. So, get the new reading glasses on. Age is a thing. I had several pairs of reading glasses. I don't always use them. It depends on the size of the text. Most usually, I always use the reading glasses in my Bible study because my Bible, like most of your Bibles, probably is small print. So I have a pair like this that stay with my Bible in my little Bible case. And then I had a pair of nose pinch glasses, which I've used here on video before, reading text that were poems and readings that were this small. And then I lost them, so I had to order some new reading glasses. And typically they come in like packs of 2 or 3. And so I got an extra pair. It's like, you know what? I need a pair just for the library as well, because when I'm here, I'm reading and smoking, and rather than always reading my books like this, it's like I should just have a dedicated pair of reading glasses out here as well. So, and I'm not bothered by it. We have a youth chasing culture. You don't want to see the high degree of plastic surgery amongst professional actors and actresses to know that's the case. But Getting old is a thing. I speak to some of the members of my congregation about this often, because generally speaking, when people start hitting their 40s and so on and so forth, the body starts to degrade a bit. You can't run as fast as you used to, and it may be more difficult to lose weight, and and your eye starts to fail a little bit, and you're getting a bit more creaky when you move around. But yeah, that's meant to happen, right? We're not meant to live forever in this mortal form, right? We do get reconciled to the Lord, and we get our glorified bodies, but here on earth, getting older is a thing. So no reason to run from it. I mean, stay as healthy as you can, but if it means you have to put on a pair of reading glasses, put on a pair of reading glasses. No sense inhibiting your enjoyment of literature because you're afraid of how you look. Well, our poem for today. This one, well, let me read it first, and then I'll give you my take on it. Here in this place where I have come, this gorgeous auditorium, I sit as quiet as a mouse, enwrapped in Bach or Brahms or Strauss. Whilst round me hacks and wheezes and other respiratory diseases bombard the fortress of my senses and batter down my weak defenses. The coughs from bark to merest tickle, untouched by lozenge, pill, or chicle, shatter the nuances of sound, and all the sweet silences are drowned. The muse is wise and old, but is fighting now the common cold. No more the moment musical, for all the coughs here are full, and render after every note the pizzicantos of the throat. Drum, drummers, drum, beat out the rhythms against our glottal paroxysms. Play, fiddlers, play, reach for the stars, and we'll chime in on our guitars. So, on first reading of that, it seems kind of like a fun little poem, right? Like the poet is just at a concert trying to enjoy the music, and people are coughing. It's a winter concert, so people have got winter colds, and they're not taking lozenges and things like they're coughing, making all these noises all around. It's like it's distracting. He's trying to enjoy the music, and he's distracted by all these coughs, right? But I think this is where the words are wiser than the poet. This was a common understanding by some of the literary scholars in the 18th and 19th centuries, and in the Inklings, actually. I'm reading the book on the Inklings right now. And Tolkien and Lewis and Barfield and them, Charles Williams, especially Charles Williams, had this idea that language is wiser than those who use it. The words are more ancient. The words have history. So the language that we use every day predates us and has more about it than how we use it. So the poem, well, you can read it at one level and just say, oh, it's a fun little poem about being at a concert where there's a bunch of coughing and it's distracting. It can very, very easily convey a deeper message, even without the poet necessarily thinking about it. It's the inspiration that comes for poets and painters and so on and so forth. That form of creativity comes, from the ontological source of creativity, which is God, right? God is the creator. We have sub-creations, but God is the ultimate creator. And so when I was reading that, it put me in mind of Hebrews 12, verses 1 and 2, where it's speaking about all the distractions that are around us, right? And that we need to fix our eyes on Christ, that we are distracted by the tumult and the sin, and that we should fix our eyes on Jesus and not be distracted by all the things of this world. See, he's got this beautiful music being played, but he can't concentrate on it. He can't focus on it because he's thinking about the sounds around him. He's thinking about the coughing and the wheezing and so on. So these distractions. In the Screwtape Letters, C.S. Lewis, writing as Uncle Screwtape to Wormwood, his nephew, says, we don't necessarily need to tempt them. We just need to keep them busy. Keep them too busy to think about God. Distract them. And we live in a world full of distractions, especially with regards to current events and so on and so forth, and things are going on, and and this person yelling at that person, and this view of that, and all these different things going on right in the world, and that's been an ongoing thing forever. We can be tempted to look at the current political climate and say, okay, about all the stuff going on, and there's a long list, and be like, oh, how can I think about God when this is happening here and that's happening there? Well, you know what? The world's always been like that. This is not a new thing. There's nothing new under the sun. Globalism has actually existed for thousands of years. The Pax Mogolica, the Silk Road. I mean, this goes way, way, way back, right? So this is nothing new. Leaders of different nations rising and falling and maneuvering around and so on and so forth, and wars and rumors of wars. It's always existed. And it distracts us from the key of existence, which is the ontological source of existence, which is God. So the music is still being played. God is still there. The concert is still going on. It's up to us to tune out the noise and focus on the signal. So, well, I'm going to return to my Peterson 221. I hope you have a lovely week. As always, happy reading.